Okay, here we go again. Today I'm gonna tell you about this deck. This is a Revox PR99 Mark 1. I got this deck like about over a year ago, and it was still in the box until yesterday. I just got around to cut it out the box and check it out. But like all other decks I've worked on, the first thing I always do is clean it up. I can't work on a dirty gear. So so I started to clean up the deck, and when I opened it up, it was all, I mean, a lot of dust was in it. It wasn't as bad as I thought. It was very dusty though, very dusty. But usually, sometimes you get them, and these capacitors here would leak, and then you see all the grime just run down all over the place. And this one doesn't have any sign of leak at all. So those are those are good. I'm gonna test them later on to see if they're still up to spec. But the interesting thing is, um, what I found in the deck. Good thing I didn't turn it on, because I always look inside before I do anything with the deck, before cleaning. So I found this inside. This is a this is a fuse holder, right? And it was right here attached to where the fuse is, right? Seems like someone didn't have the correct size fuse, and they just jimmied it up and put a fuse in it. I'm like, whoa. And they use electrical tape to hold it up. So that in itself is a fire hazard. So another thing I found was right here, right at this spot here. This right there is this supposed to be a um, zero point 0.1 microfarad capacitor. It's a suppressor cap for safety reasons, right? Supposed to be right there, and this was the cap. And someone just go in and just clip the cap, just cut it, and just leave it hanging in there. Just leave it hanging. So I'm like, whoa, this is dangerous stuff here. That should never happen. So what I did, I went and I put a brand new cap right in there where it's supposed to be. So upon cleaning the deck, I noticed something interesting, very interesting indeed. This is the output amplifier for the deck right here, this one. Now, there's supposed to be another capacitor right down there. You're supposed to have two capacitors. Now, one capacitor is missing. So I said, wait, what's going on here? One capacitor missing, something is up. Okay, so I proceeded to look at the service manual, and I look at the card number. Each card has a number. So I look at the card number, and this matches this one. It says 1.177880. That's the number for that card. And sure enough, this diagram is showing the capacitor intact, right down here. The C1 and C2 supposed to be there with the transformers. These are the transformer 1, 2, right? So I couldn't figure out why would someone take out the capacitor, and I don't think it was done at the factory, because right here you can see where the glue is that holds down the capacitor. These capacitor from the factory, they put glue on the board to hold down the capacitor, right? And the glue is still there. So somebody move it. Somebody move it. And also I notice at the output level, where two trim pots are supposed to be, there is no trim pot. It's only a two carbon resistor right there. So something is up with this board. So I look at the manual again and look at the next sheet. Sure enough, this is a different board. This is 1.177.881, and it says here output amplifier mono, right? Output amplifier mono. So then I look at the drawing, and the drawing is showing that this section, it's a mirror section over here. It's supposed to mirror this. It's all gone, right? And one of the output jack is also gone. So this is clearly a mono deck, for a mono deck. But there is nowhere on the deck that says it's a mono. It's mono. So what I'm thinking is that based on what I found with the Jimmy rig stuff that went on the fuse, and you know, somebody screw with the power supply here, I'm thinking that someone may have gone in and modified this deck for mono. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure, but it's really looking that way. Because I've never really seen a mono deck in PR99 mono decks. I've never seen one before. So so what I did earlier was to turn it on. Right now the deck is on. Right, you can see that these VU meters doesn't light up. Something is wrong over there. But anyway, but the VU meter themselves work, but no light. So I proceeded to play the tape, right? Okay, it's clearly playing. Hold on. Operator error. I have to plug this in. Now, tape is playing, but only one channel is playing. This is channel 2, right here, the red, that's channel 2, channel 1. So if you take out this, it's gone. This one don't matter. It's just wired for one channel, channel 2. Right? Then when I record, right, the deck can also record. When I record, these input level knobs has no effect on the incoming signal at all, right? And also the input selector for channel 1 doesn't work, but channel 2 does work. I will demonstrate all these to you. So the headphone part is working. I try the headphone, and the headphone works. And whenever I record and switch between output and input, the level remain constant. You know, everything is, and it's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to remain constant. So that's working fine, right? But right now, only one VU meter is flashing, right? One channel, one VU meter flashing. The other one is dead. Right, so someone clearly modified this deck for a mono deck. I don't think this deck come from the factory as a mono, but I'm going to look into that. All right, so let's stop the tape, and I'm going to record, and I'm going to demonstrate what I've been talking about. Okay.
Clouds came rolling over the plain.
Okay, so input. So I'm gonna record.
The breezes are down and the river is rising into the town.
No, both meters are flashing. Yeah, both meters are flashing. Now, when you switch the input, it has no effect on channel 2 has channel 1 switch has no effect. Right? The input level control has no effect either. Right? And the reason is that on this deck, if this is in cal, it is in on-cal mode. It doesn't. These are supposed to have an effect. But if you put it on cal mode, on-cal rather, it should. See that? So in on-cal mode, only one is responding. Only one of the input level switches is responding. So the deck is clearly a mono deck. And I'm going to put it back on cal. I mean cal rather. And no effect, because that's how the deck is made. Right? Cal and on cal. Okay, so that's working. Now, if you listen carefully, I don't know if you can hear it, but when I switch from input to output, no change. So you hear that? No change. Same level. So that's going good. So I gotta figure out what's going on with this mono modification. I don't think it's a real mono deck, but I'm gonna look into it. So I've made a list of everything that's gone wrong, that I've found wrong with this deck. So in doing the restoration, I will be correcting all these issues that I found with the deck. Clearly you can see that the counter isn't working. So either broken counter or the belt itself is broken. So I gotta fix that up. So the deck does record, no problem. The deck does play, no problem. So I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna rewind to a point, let's see, and play back some of what we just recorded. River is rising. So let me put it on reproduce and hit play. So only one speaker playing, one channel. Right? So that's what's going on here. This is a mono deck, modified or unmodified. I'm not sure. I'm going to look into it. But the deck seems to be working. So the next step from here will be to go through the deck properly and check out all aspects of the deck, meaning check the transport, make sure that all the bearings are good, the rear motor bearing is good, the capstan motor bearing and all that. Then I'm going to do a recap because these are original capacitors in these decks from over 40 years ago. So after a while they do deteriorate. So I'm gonna do a recap on it. But the point is, before any recap is done, you gotta get the deck working fine before you touch anything. And I'm satisfied that the deck is working, except I gotta figure out if this was a mono modification or it was a factory or it came from the factory as a mono deck. If it's a mono modification, then I will have to put it back to stereo, and so I get both outputs working and everything else working. So that should be fun. Looking forward to doing that. Other than that, this is the deck, and I must say this deck is really looking nice. All the letters are here. Everything is here. All the knobs, except this switch. There's a glass portion of it. There's a little glass. It's not on this one, so I gotta find a replacement for it. Other than that, everything is all good with the deck. You know, up to this point. And then once I take it into restoration, I mean in recap, then I have to go ahead and recalibrate and all that. Fix, make sure that brakes are fine. Check the pinch rollers and the heads. You know, this is just preliminary assessment, so I will do a deep dive into it in the coming weeks. Okay, at some point, we'll see. Won't make any promises about doing another video on it, but quite likely when I get it to the calibration stage, I might do a video on it. But I just wanted to share this, what I've discovered on this deck, especially these really freak me out. I never see this before. Someone really screwed with it. All right, thanks for watching. See you again. See you on the next one.